Hey, welcome to the Dink and Dish podcast. My name is Barbara Brodowski, and I'm with my co-host and fitness icon Tammy Lee Webb. One thing we want you to take away from this show is what's that, Tammy Lee? Dinking is
Dinking
not
is
a
not a
warm-up.
warm-up. Oof. How many times
That's
have
our
we said that?
tagline. I know. I don't know how we
Yes.
came up with it, but I do think it's brilliant. Well, welcome to the
Mhm.
show, everyone. We're excited to be here. This is our first episode. Super high level. Tammy Lee and I are fitness experts and pickleball enthusiasts. So, our goal with the show
Yes.
is one, bring some levity to the sport because it's not that serious. Two
Mm.
is make sure people really understand it's about community and activity. And most important is for us that you don't get hurt.
Right. And I think that's why we came up with that, is because we saw so many people they go dashing on the court because they're so excited to get going, which
Uh
so am
huh.
I. But they just start dinking, they're talking, they're dinking, they back up a little bit, dink. Okay, you ready? Like we
I
had one girl,
know.
she would not even prefer to dink. Let's just go for it. And
So
and
funny.
that's where people get injured. And that's our
Yep.
line of work. We
Yep.
we look at bodies as a form of performances.
And listen, there's a lot of work ahead of us because the group I play with, I am still one of the only ones that kind of
That
lunges around the
warm.
court and shuffles around the court. Yeah, it. We have a lot of work to do because people are not grabbing on that. It's okay.
Mm-mm.
It's okay to shuffle, to get your body warm in a dynamic way, to prepare your body using the movements you're gonna do in slow motion, then kind of ballistically to prepare yourself. It looks funny right now, but my goal is that in 2 years it won't look funny. It will be what everyone's going to do before they play pickleball.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's just like when we teach group X. So when we were teaching classes, I mean, the protocol was we start with a warm up. I would
Hmm.
always do a stretch remember we went through that. Should
Oh
you
yeah.
stretch before or just
Hmm.
after? And I'm a big believer in it's not going to hurt if you stretch a little before we get
Mm-mm.
into more dynamic types of
Right.
movements. And it's the same with every sport.
Yeah, and it's about so I think my big concern is people. I see people just doing calf stretches. They're like, okay, I'm warm. I'm like, all you did was tell your calf to stretch. You didn't tell your quads to fire, your glutes to fire. You didn't tell your shoulders what you're going to do. You
No.
stretched your calf, and that felt good. I mean, a
Yeah.
calf stretch always feels good, but it's not what your body's going to need for pickleball. So tell me this. Let's really
Yeah.
quick go over this week in pickleball. Tammy, did you play any time this week?
I did. I actually got out on Wednesday before it rained. So it was supposed to rain, and we're like, okay, can we get it? Can we get it? Get it? We started at 1. We walked off the court and it started sprinkling. And I felt bad because the next groups that were coming in, they're
Uh
like,
huh.
oh, but yeah, we did. We had a great time. This is a group. It's just all for fun. This is
Uh
not.
huh.
We're not rated. We have a great time.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, I am going to take a camera out there and I'm going to videotape and then I'm going to edit because there are some hilarious moments.
Oh my gosh, Emily.
Hilarious. And
So
we got to share them.
I got some mics, like two clip-on portable mics, because these chicks I play with are so funny. I mic them up and I die. First of all, I couldn't play a lot of what they say, but mic'd up pickleball is so funny because the banter happening on the other side of the court is some of the funniest stuff I've ever heard of in my life. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you love pickleball, you want to have some fun, you want to get some good content for your social media, man, mic people up and have them just play a game mic'd up because it is funny.
Yeah. There are things that come out that you're only really thinking,
That's
maybe we
so
shouldn't do
true.
that. Yeah.
I played a couple times this week, and I had a good week. I played once. It's just a fun get together with women at a place called Courtside Kitchen, and it's covered. So whether it
Oh, what
rains
a
or
cute
not, you get
name.
to play. Isn't it Courtside Kitchen?
Yeah.
It's so cute. I played there twice this week. Once was I call it just a fun time with women, and the second was what's called a ladder league, where there's courts 1 through 5, and you work your way up the ladder. And I was subbing for someone. But the difference between what I call our TCU Tuesdays, we play at TCU University on Tuesdays with a group of 20 women, and it's not DUPR rated. It's just fun. We draw chips. You play different people every week.
Oh,
So you
that's
can't just go with
nice.
your friends. Oh, you draw a chip and you get who you get. And
Yeah.
it's good for your brain because you play with people that you normally wouldn't play with, or people
Yeah.
that are way better than you, or people who
Yeah.
are not as good as you. So you really have to kind of adjust your skill set. That's on Tuesdays. But the DUPR league I play on, when I sub for on Wednesdays, it's just more serious. And it's not that it's not fun, but if you
Yeah.
know about a ladder league, you're counting your points because every point you make matters in the DUPR. So
Yeah.
I like having them both. And I had a good week. I probably won 50% of my games. And I like that because if I'm winning all my games, I'm not playing the right people. If I
Right.
lose all my games, like
You
I'm
want
not
to play up.
really, I'm not even hitting the ball.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a good week where I'm like, yeah, I'm 50-50 this week. It was a good week.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think
it's
the
fun.
downside of playing with the same women as I do weekly is that you get used to each other's
Yes.
game. And so whenever we get a sub that comes in and they're really good, I just get so excited because it ups my game. But it
Yep.
makes me realize I need to get into a ladder type of situation. I
Yep.
think what's holding me back is I've recently had some knee issues with some torn meniscus. So I always feel like I don't want to let my partners down if I was
Yeah.
in a situation where we're trying to really win this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kind of keeps me away from it because I'm one of those retrievers. I'll go for everything.
I play with this chick named Rachel, and she's so cool because when I have the forehand, I mean, I have ADHD, so when I have the forehand, man,
Watch out.
I say I formation. Just it's terrible. It's not the way you should play. So there's people you can play with to have fun, and other time you have to be very serious. And I like doing both, but I really do like the ladies that kind of like let you have the forehand, and they'll just take the leftovers. It's fun.
Yeah.
Really quick is the DUPR. We're going to have a whole series on just the DUPR and how people can utilize it, love it or leave it. It's a great tool, but it shouldn't run your life.
Right.
That's one
But
thing. And
tell us again, tell our audience again what the DUPR is in case they
So it's
they don't know the DUPR.
DUPR, and it's a pickleball ranking system where you actually have to be ranked or rated. I think it's 1 through 8. You have to be rated in order to play in certain tournaments, and it does help. So when you sign up at a league, I'm like a 3.45, 3.45. So I'd be considered like a 3.5 player. So when I sign up for a league, I'd be put with the 3.5 players versus the 3.0s. Or so you got to get put with the right people. 3.5 is a real, that's like a real interesting place to be because you're playing with people that are way better than you and people who are still learning the game. So it's, I think people tend to settle at 3.5 unless you're going to go pro. Because I think a lot of us get to this. It's kind of like, not scratch golf, but 3.5 feels like that's where we all kind of land and we kind of like just kind of go up and down from there. It's really interesting. So that's one thing. And the second thing is the ladder league. I wanted to have a podcast just on ladder leagues and help people set them up at their courts. Because if you play on like 5 courts, try to have a ladder league so that you will actually see yourself go up and down and you fight for your spot. You defend your court. So I'm excited about the podcast just to cover stuff like this too. So. Hey, but really quick, this week we wanted to talk about our fitness component that starts now is going to be about feet and ankles. And we chose that because, listen, it's the first podcast I said we're starting at the bottom. Now we're here. So we're going to start at the bottom and just talk about foot and ankle stability. So you want to take it from here, Tammy, and I'll just add?
Yeah, the foot is so important. Our feet have to carry our weight. And depending on what we're doing with them, the shoes that you're wearing. So if you're a person that you're in high heels all day for whatever reason, and then you go out onto a court, well, now you've shortened your Achilles, you've put your foot in a certain position. And then when you come down, it all of a sudden it was tight and now it's got to stretch. So if you do not warm that up and get it prepared for being on the courts, you have the possibility of injuring yourself. But our little digits, I don't know if you've ever injured your ankle or your toes, any of those digits. It is extremely painful because one, it carries all of your weight. It's not that big compared to the rest of your body, but
Right.
there's so many tendons and you've got muscles in there and you don't even realize by let's just pretend that these are my toes, but just doing this with your toes and stretching them, extending and pulling them in will help them in strengthening, but as well as in your heel, the top of your foot and the heel. So I always look at it as if this was my foot and this is my, let's say this is my big toe. So it's your toe here and then your heel. So you've
She's
kind of
holding the
got
palm. If you're on the podcast,
the
not
palm.
on YouTube, she's holding her hand like you're in an open position.
Wait a minute. Should I get my foot out?
No,
So it's this here. So
oh, now the foot fetish people came
triangle. It's a little triangle, and so one thing, your feet will also help you with balancing. They say that people that are in sports that, especially on courts, so tennis, pickleball, basketball, anything that's on the court, because not all the courts, and especially courts that we play on for pickleball, are not, they don't give. They're concrete. They're concrete. So your foot is striking, and the impact of that is affecting your foot in so many ways. So I was asking one of the pros at one of our facilities, I said, hey, what injuries do you see the most here? And she said, by far, it's ankles. It's usually Achilles that are ripped. And I said, really, that's fascinating. Okay, so then tell me, what is the demographics? Who is getting hurt? And I'm thinking it's probably us boomers, right? Going out there, and I don't know if you're a boomer yet, but anyway,
no, I'm Gen
she
X.
said, no, it is not. It's actually the younger people. So I was fascinated by that. So I broke my ankle, and I think it was 2016, and in three different places. Now I have metal in there with some pins. So I have to really make sure that I'm getting my feet, that I'm warming up my ankles. The other thing that we're going to talk about the foot is getting, yes, fascia. So you can develop a lot of fascia in that tendon that goes from the toe back to the heel. And you can tell when it's hard to walk on your feet. It's like you get up in the morning, you're like, ow, what is that? That can be plantar fasciitis. And so one of the ways that we work that out is exactly what you're showing me right there. Why don't you explain that?
It's a ball. And listen, it's just a ball. It's a trigger point ball. You can get, a tennis ball works amazing. I've taken workshops where they've given us a handful of marbles to like roll our feet on. So anything that's round.
Golf balls.
I also have, anything. Yeah, golf balls are great.
Hard.
I also have this. Oh, look, it matches my fingernails.
Yeah.
This is also something that you can put this in the freezer, and you can make it hot or cold. And I got this on Amazon. So we're going to link these in the show notes. But listen, I don't do it all the time, but my goal is to do it all the time. So that's a plus.
Yeah.
But like before I work out, I try to roll my feet with this. And when I'm done, I try to use this longer contraption, has all these little nodules on it. And I'll tell you what, we'll link in the show notes the videos where you roll your feet with this ball, bend over and touch your toes before and after. And because you roll to your feet, you have more flexibility throughout your body. Like it actually releases tension throughout your whole entire body. Because like, those acupressure, listen, if you ever had that foot acupressure done, it is the most painful, non-relaxing, ridiculous thing. I've done it a couple of times. I know it's good for me, but it hurts like a mother. This is just a more gentle way to do that, but it does help with flexibility and mobility. So, and the funny thing too, and I'm excited to have like a shoe person come on and talk as well about shoes, because you cannot just go to, I was such a Dumbo. I went to like a Under Armour store, no offense to Under Armour, but I went to Under Armour store. I said, hey, I need good pickleball court shoes. And he recommended these one shoes. And listen, they were just cross-training shoes. Like you do need court shoes, not cross-training shoes. You need court shoes because of the lateral movement. I was literally, you move so quick in pickleball that I actually stepped out of the shoe. Like I stepped out of the shoe. Like
I've done that.
This is
and
like,
rolled.
You gotta have good shoes.
Rolled.
Yes.
So if the wedge is too wide, and you can roll right over. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's people that are recommending certain things. So it doesn't mean that one is better than the other. Well, it does. If you're going with a court shoe or if you're going with a cross trainer, court
Hmm.
shoes are made to move laterally and forward and
Hmm.
backwards
Right.
and to take that pounding. So it's a
Yeah.
much heavier shoe than a running shoe. A running shoe is not going to give you the lateral support. It's gonna flex. It's going to have that
Yes.
great flexibility, and it's meant to go forward. You
Right.
might have a wide toe base, but the depending on how your foot is. So one of my girlfriends that I play with, Mindy, she's got just a long skinny foot, but that's kind of her body. She's an ectomorph. She's long and thin, and everything's thin, and so is her foot. So she typically goes with a Nike,
Hmm.
because Nikes can run very narrow,
Hmm.
and it fits her foot. Me, I am a mesomorph, pure mesomorph. I am stocky, and so are my feet. So I've got to get a wider base shoe,
Hmm.
and one that supports me. So I find that what is it? Starts with an A. I'm blanking. This is the boomer in me.
Adidas or Asics?
Not Asics.
I have
Asics
Asics.
is, yeah, those are the ones that fit me the best.
Yeah.
And
I
I
have New
always have
Balance
two.
too, and then the New Balance tends to have a wider
Like,
toe box. So yeah, and
yeah,
they're cute.
I,
By the way, kudos to New Balance who really made cute women's pickleball
yeah,
shoes. Oh,
yeah,
they've got a little
yeah,
pickleball thing on the
finally.
side. I'm like, no. That's another thing too. I can't wait to have people on the podcast talk about fashion because let me tell you, as a former
Oh,
figure skater, and I'm sure Tammy Lee as a fitness person as well, the outfits are everything. Like, oh, the pickleball outfits are to die for. Okay, one more thing. Let's talk about the ankle really quick. And I know you brought a prop, but I've
yeah.
broken my leg. I've broken my ankle twice, um, both before I
Same,
was
same
18.
ankle?
Same ankle. So it's my weakest link. So, and
Wow.
if I ever roll an ankle, it's my left ankle. So I'm so hyper conscious about my shoe and about always strengthening my ankle. And when I teach fitness classes, I talk about how your brain, the neuroplasticity from your brain to your ankle, like
Mm-hmm.
how you want to keep that line of communication open. And I remember like
Yeah.
having ladies stand on one foot, balance, like on a Bosu ball or on a balance board, and have them close their eyes and try not to
Oh,
put their
yeah.
foot down. And I say, when you put your foot down, it's like you hung up the phone of communication to your brain, to your ankle, because it's okay, but you want to stand on one foot and balance and try not to put your foot down, because when you put your foot down, now that foot's taken away the communication to your brain, and now it's
To
like,
your
oh, I
brain.
don't have to work as
Yeah.
hard. So show them the prop you have.
Right.
It's fabulous.
Yeah. So it's called Mobo, and it was developed by a physical therapist. So
Mm-hmm.
if you can tell, it's got, this is where your foot goes. Now in
Mm-hmm.
here, this is where your toes go. Your big toe goes here. So all the other toes lock in here, which is trying to tell you those points. So your toe to the ball, back to the
Mm-hmm.
heel. So if you have all of those connected for balance. So when you say, okay, you put them on the Bosu and try and lift the foot, now close your eyes. Just doing that on flat surface is
It's
difficult
hard.
once you close your eyes. I'm like, wow, girl,
Yes.
you're a hard trainer. So now, do you see how they have these pegs? This is what I
Uh-huh.
love about it. These pegs you can take out and you can put here or here. Now, what does that mean? It means one of them is helping with supinate, the other is helping with pronate.
Nice.
So then
We'll
you
link this in the show notes as well.
flip it over, and we do not get paid to promote this stuff. These are just
No.
great props that we love
Uh-huh.
using. And then you can flip it over, and now you put your other foot in it.
So
And
smart.
so you can balance. And this is where I can put my clients on there. They're barefoot. They once they get stabilized. So once the proprioceptors start firing and they're stable and they're like, ta-da! I'm like, okay, now close your eyes. And they're
Yeah,
like,
so
what?
smart.
Well, because we
Also
got
in
to
the
get
show
this
notes,
working.
Tammy Lee, we'll put the link the videos to our in our Instagram page, and we'll have the videos of you on that board. We'll have videos showing how to use the ball. So we'll always give you, if you're not watching us on YouTube, and you're just catching the podcast, in the show notes, we'll have links to the videos for the ball, for the foot massager and the balance boards, because I think it's
Yeah.
important. This is all of that pickleball prehab stuff we talk about. Listen, it's not a full-time job to do this, but what's important is what you do to prepare for pickleball is actually preparing your life for longevity and autonomy. And I talk about that all the time because it's important that, yeah, you're training to play pickleball better, but you're actually training to live your life better.
Yeah.
That's the goal, right? It's about long. Pickleball is pickleball is a great way to have a long life. And if you do all of these things to play pickleball well, you'll actually live well. That's the goal.
Right. Right. And your body it will so appreciate it, because as we get older, everything kind of slows down. And I always say muscle doesn't have an age, but if you don't use it, you've heard of, then you lose it. And it's true.
Yeah.
So people get real excited to get out on with pickleball because it's a lot closer than tennis. You get to socialize, you can hear each other. And, but what you forget is it also is hard on your body. And so you've got to take care of your body. One of my saying is take care of your body and your body will take care of you, both on and off the court. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, any final thoughts, Tammy Lee, before we wrap this one up?
Well, I was just going to look over some of my notes. I just think that, planning ahead. Oh, I know. One of the things that I do with some of my clients is I'll take a towel, set the towel out, they're barefoot, put their foot in front of it, and then they have to move their foot over. So they've got mobility in their ankle. They grab the towel with their toes, pick it up, and move it to the side.
And that's harder than it.
It's harder than it looks. And then you pick it up and you keep moving it. If you just do a round on each side, you've gotten all that, body flow. And because when you get out on the court, your body starts to get warm and then you go, oh, I don't feel anything. So even with my meniscus, even though I wrap it, I wear my brace, I get out there, I'm warmed up, I feel great. And it's when I get off that I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have chased that one ball or
those endorphins tend to wear off.
They wear off, and then you start to feel those, those areas. So I just ice it and do a little whatever I need naturally for it.
And then when we talk about these exercises, and well, like I said 100 times, we'll link them in the show notes and link them to the Instagram page. You can kind of follow them on Instagram, but it's nothing that takes a lot of time. I always say I have this ball when I make my coffee in the morning. So when I do pour over coffee, I roll my foot on this when I do pour over coffee. There's certain things I do to make it easy, and a lot of the stuff you can do when you're just watching TV or when you're brushing your teeth. So I don't think you need to. I mean, obviously, I am an advocate of working out, lifting heavy weights, and stretching really good. But this pickleball prehab stuff, I mean, if you could just incorporate a couple of these things into your life, and then, like I say, we make macro adjustments. Make micro adjustments. Just make those small adjustments in your life, and then you're going to have much larger gains in the long term when you just add these small little things. Yeah. I'm not saying do this for 2 hours a day.
This is why this is because a lot of people will wait until they get injured, and now you're you're in rehab.
Yes.
And that's where you don't want to be. If you set yourself up now, you can resist some of those things that might happen. Mm-hmm.
I agree. All right, cool, Tammy Lee. So then we'll see you next time on the show. Listen, leave comments. Make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast. Follow us on all our social media channels. Yeah, and share, because we have a lot of fun guests coming up. We have a lot of great content coming up. And I think the most important thing, too, is we just want to have fun and talk about pickleball. Like, just talk about pickleball, how to stay healthy, and how to have fun, and how to wear the cute clothes.
Yeah, we want some stories. So if you've got something that you want to hear from us, or you have a story, please share with us. We want to make that known, okay?
Yeah, it'd be awesome. All right. Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
All right. Bye.